Hi there, this is Dr. S. JaNine Hyman, and I want to encourage you today, especially those of you who are in transition. You're coming out of something and going into something else. Those of you who seem to be stuck in certain patterns and you're just can't wait to get out, you're ready to get out. And those of you who are anticipating a new season being imminent and approaching in your life. I want to talk to you about your response to things in this season in your life. The Bible kind of gives us the idea that we were crafted, made, created, wired to hear the voice of God. The Bible talks about in the book of Genesis how, and God said, let there be. And God said, let there be. And there was. And God said, let us, Elohim, make man, Adam, in our image and in our likeness. He said. So this suggests then that everything in the spiritual and material worlds respond to the voice of God. You were created and crafted and made to hear the voice of God. Deuteronomy chapter 4, around verse 35 or so, describes how Moses, even though he was not familiar with this new phenomenon, Moses hears the voice of God speaking out of a fire, out of a bush, out of a new experience. Every new experience that God brings you to, he first speaks to you and tells you how to prepare to encounter that experience. Okay? We see the prophet Elijah is used to hearing God in a whirlwind. He's used to hearing God in nature. And he's used to hearing God, in strange things. He's used to hearing God one way. But when he gets to a certain crisis, a personal crisis in his life, after he has just had one of the hugest public victories of his prophetic ministry, then God speaks to him in another dimension in a still small voice. It doesn't matter where we are. Understand that you are crafted to hear the voice of God. Now, whether you have allowed religion and your belief system and some psychological things or the vicissitudes of life to put you in a place where you don't hear the voice of God or experience God, then understand that's not the way you were originally wired. God has wired you, crafted you, and made you by the word of his power. Therefore, he wants to sustain you, grow you, increase you, keep you, bless you, uplift you, promote you, send you forward, prosper you by the words of his power, the words of his mouth. In fact, God creates a whole multiverses. There are planets and entities out there that we can't even fathom, that God has created, and they all have a purpose. He does it by his thought and then expressing his thought into words. And God said, God speaks the universe, the multiverses, into order, functionality, increase, perpetual increase by the words of his mouth. He rules the universe by his mouth. Likewise, God should be ruling us by his mouth. It is our response and our reaction to the words of God's mouth that determine the quantity and the quality of our lives. Our reaction to God's words, God's thoughts, his ideas, his plans concerning us, will determine our health, the fruitfulness of our relationships, our wealth, our forward and upward mobility, and the quality of our lives. So we need to understand that whatever season you're in, and most of us, if you're like myself, have been in a very elongated season, if you will, of testing and trying of our faith, knowing this, that the trying of our faith worketh patience. And while we're in this trial, your reaction to your trials and your tests, your temptations, determine how long you stay in a season and how well you're promoted when you transition out of a season. Your successes and failures are very heavily dependent upon your reaction. What is a reaction? To react means to act or to do. Re means again. It's kind of like the law of physics. To every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, everything that comes at you in your universe, in your world, God is looking at how you react, how you respond. React is an intransitive verb, meaning a counteracting force or an influence. That's a reaction. It means to exert a reciprocal force. It means to act and response under the influence or stimulation or authority or prompting of a thing. The Bible says that you have an unction from the Holy One. You have a prompting of the Spirit. And how we react to that or refuse to react determines whether we enter into calamity, whether we avoid calamity, whether we enter into opportunities and seize them and walk in victory. React also means to react in the reverse direction or the reverse manner, especially of a force, a contradicting force, so as to return to a prior condition. Everything that the enemy brings you, God is presenting that to you so that you, by your reaction and the words of your mouth, may return the thing to its prior condition, to God's original intention. And so how you respond, how you react to trials, how you react to an enemy determines your preparedness and your readiness for your next season. In fact, the presence of an enemy suggests that God is at work on your next now. Your reaction to greatness, when you're in the presence of a person of greatness, your reaction to that will determine whether that person will favor you and give you access to them, or whether they will move away from you. Your reaction to a person of greatness will determine whether you get what's on them or not. Your reaction to correction, your reaction to rebuke, your reaction to protocols and boundaries and authorities are but a mere photograph, a snapshot of your character. Your reaction or your response to change, to receiving, your response to gifts, your response to promotion, all tell you about your character. Your response to money, the lack of it, tells you something about how far you're willing to go to do what you have to do. Your reaction or your response to the increase of money also intensifies what is inside of you. So you can trace just about every success and every failure in your life to the way you responded or you reacted to to some stimulus or some force in your life. In this season, it's not about who did what to you, the injustices that you've gone through. It's not about who left you, who wouldn't help you, who dissed you, who dismissed you, who abused you. None of that in this hour is important to your upward and forward mobility. What is important in this hour is your reaction, your response, the words that you speak. The Bible says that life and death are in the power of your tongue. There's some things you need to put a stop or an end to by the words of your mouth. There's some things you need to give life to by the words of your mouth. Be careful in this season of transition where change is literally brooding over our heads, where a shifting has already shifted. Be mindful in this season how you react to others, how you react to great people, how you react to poor people, how you react to feeble-minded people, how you react to an enemy. Everything that God puts in your environment is to see what you, like Adam, will name that animal. Whatever you name it, that's what it is. Whatever you call it, that's how it will function. Be mindful in this hour how you react, because how you react is feedback to what's going on inside of you. Your responses and your reactions to your tests and your triumphs and your victories are an indicator of what's going on inside of you. It's feedback, and it lets you know whether or not you are ready for your next chapter, your next level, or your next season. Be careful how you respond. Count it all joy when you enter into diverse temptations. Don't look at this stuff as though some strange thing has happened to you. This is a season where God is going to give his people insight into what's going on in them. And when we gain more healthy attitudes and healthy relationships and healthy reactions, we're going to move forward in the thing that God has for us. I am so excited about your next chapter, your next dimension, your next level. Just be mindful. Your reactions will determine your success, your failure, your health, your wealth, your quantity, and your quality of life. Remember that Jesus came to give you life to the full and to the overflow. How you will respond will determine how well you live. Well, I'm out of time, and I certainly am appreciative of yours. I am looking forward to seeing you at the next level. God bless you. Love you now.